This is CBC Here and Now.
We're not just continuing to invest in the old system, which I would argue hasn't worked well, and we're developing a new system that is sustainable for the future of Newfoundland and Labrador.
More towns are learning tonight that they're losing their family doctors.
The Premier is in Gander trying to sell his plan for the future of healthcare.
Well, it's a beautiful day today, but this area of low pressure is going to move in for the weekend and keep things unsettled.
Number 14 will no longer be worn here at the Bay Roberts Arena. We'll tell you why coming up a little later on in the show.
Good evening and welcome to Here and Now. I'm Carolyn Stokes.
And I'm Peter Cowan. The physician shortage is going to hit even more communities this summer.
Yes, according to this province's medical association, doctors will be leaving Burgeo, Roddickton, Forteau, and Flowers Cove.
Now that's in addition to the other towns we've already heard that are about to lose or have already lost doctors, like Harbour Breton, St. Albans, Baie Verte, Buckens, and Fogo.
Well, today the Premier and his health minister visited the Gander Hospital to talk about their plan for the future.
Here Now's Garrett Berry has the story from there tonight.
We're not naive. We know that this is not going to all happen overnight, but we are in a kind of time of transition in the healthcare system.
Andrew Fury says medicine in this province hasn't been reimagined since universal healthcare was introduced. And now it's happening, and not just here.
All provinces, all territories are facing this particular issue. Let's pick Alberta. Cash surplus Alberta. They're closing emergency departments. They're having the same struggles with family doctors.
His vision relies in part on team-based clinics. He says it will make sure family doctors aren't overworked and will put patients in touch with specialists.
And new grads are certainly not going to practice, I don't believe, like old grads did and hang up a shingle and practice as a sole practitioner. They're being trained to work in teams.
Where we will be hearing from our physician leaders about virtually
But today's speeches admittedly didn't present many quick fixes. Opposition MHA Chris Tibbs listened to the Premier's comments and was not impressed.
We appreciate the vision, we appreciate the challenges, but at the end of the day, how is this going to help people today? We've heard today that this doesn't happen overnight. 7 years equates to 2,500 nights. When are we going to see some change?
Also making the trip, the mayor of New West Valley. That community has seen diversions from their small hospital almost every day this past week.
Coming back and raising a family, I would like to promote the rest of the world to do that. So some of my friends that are my age come back and raise a family. What I always say, it's a hard sell though, isn't it? You know, when the first thing I got to say when you're planning on raising a family is that you have to go to possibly Grand Falls to have a baby.
The move to a new type of medical clinic will be a long one, but the Premier says he is working on short-term steps that can help ease pressures right now.
When would you expect to have progress on that?
Very shortly, yeah. I mean, I can't promise, I can't and I shouldn't, and no one should promise a doctor in every community. What we are promising is to support the people in the communities for their healthcare needs and promising to recreate the system so that it's more sustainable.
Garrett Berry, CBC News, Gander.
Well, the health minister outlined why doctors are leaving. The reasons are based on exit interviews with departing doctors at Central Health.
For the last 30 years, the average physician in a small community has stayed there for 2 years. 75% of them are gone at the end of 2 years. That statistic was true in 1993 when I arrived, and it's still true now. It is a question of recruiting a physician, but attracting a family. If you do exit interviews, as Central Health has done with physicians who leave, it's a mixed bag of reasons. Very rarely does anybody actually mention the money. They mention sustainability when they do lose colleagues. They mention wanting to go to centres where their children's interests can be catered to. And they mention maybe moving to be closer to family.
Well, in smaller communities, healthcare staffing changes month to month. There's little stability and a lot of uncertainty. Burgeo will soon lose a doctor with just one left, and that has the mayor there concerned about burnout. But that is one more doctor than Hermitage. Sandyville, patients in that South Coast community are being diverted to Grand Falls, Windsor, a 2-hour drive away.
People are very, very worried about it because, an accident or a sickness can happen at any time. And to know that they got to drive 2.5 hours just to get to an hospital, and they don't know how long it's going to actually take to see somebody at the hospital is even worse.
It's going to be very difficult. I mean, we have to, like I say, travel a minimum of 2 hours to see a doctor from outside. And if it's going to be in the wintertime, it's going to be days you're not going to get out. I mean, the Burgess Road does end up being closed fairly often in the wintertime. So, the community is very upset over this.
We currently already lost one young individual down there, probably because of it. We're not sure, but we hope we don't see any more. But I guess the chances of it happening is probably going to be, right. With so many, older people in this area, right? And we got so many agricultural workers that are working down there. That's the scary part, right? So, I mean, you can get an injury any day. I
got issues with virtual. It's same as those kind of meetings that we're doing there like this here now. I mean, we do a lot of meetings virtually now, and it's not the same. And it's even worse if you're going to a doctor with an issue. I mean, how does a doctor examine something? There's no, there's no hands-on.
I got no issues with it for when it's going to work, prescriptions and stuff like that. But for an actual, when you need to see the doctor, it means more to the older people and anyone that's injured or whatever. They'd rather see a doctor in person, right?
In Garrett's piece there, he was talking about collaborative clinics. Eastern Health says it should be able to look after patients who are left behind when existing physicians join its collaborative clinics. Some doctors are shutting down their own practice to join the ones run by Eastern Health. The doctors joining can't bring their patients with them, so they may end up getting attached to a different doctor or a nurse practitioner. But the health authority says they will still have care.
We have been successful in recruiting physicians from all sorts of different areas. So from the United States, from other parts of the country, and within our province, certainly, and even within the Eastern region. What I'll say is that those patients then have been instructed to, if a physician has left their practice, then those patients have been instructed to register with NL Connect. Right now, we have the capacity to be able to attach all of those patients into our clinics.
Now, if you're curious how these collaborative clinics are going to work, we're going to come back to this topic in about 25 minutes. We'll have Carolyn's full interview with Melissa Koch from Eastern Health about how those clinics work.
Nice big ridge of high pressure in place today, leading to an absolutely beautiful day out there, except it was a little bit windy. So temperatures feeling a little bit cooler than what it actually was. Wind gusts topped out at about 56 kilometers per hour in St. John's today. Same thing pretty much as you head towards Stephenville, Rocky Harbor, Happy Valley, Goose Bay saw those winds gusting upwards of about 61 kilometers per hour today as well. Now the good news is those winds have eased quite a bit actually. 20 kilometer per hour winds is what's sustained right now. Just a little bit gusty down through the southern areas of the island. 31 kilometers per hour in Burgeo right now. And as we head through the next couple of days, the good news is although it's going to be unsettled, the winds really won't be a factor. We're looking at those winds gusting between 40, maybe even 50 kilometers per hour through a good chunk of tomorrow, even into Saturday. I'll have the full forecast coming up.
Thanks, Ashley. The price of gas is going down. That's some good news, by almost 2 cents a litre. That's following an unexpected spike earlier in the week. The Public Utilities Board has lowered the price by 1.7 cents a litre, so that puts the maximum cost of self-serve gas at $1.93.2 on the Avalon Peninsula. Now it can be as much as $2 a litre in more rural areas like Fogo Island. The changes come 2 days after the price rose 10.5 cents a litre across the province. Also overnight, the price of diesel increased by nearly 3 cents a litre on the island, but went down in Labrador by almost the same amount. Furnace oil is up 2.5 cents, while stove oil is up 2 cents a litre in Newfoundland and down by just about the same amount in Labrador.
Well, police are investigating after someone fired at a home in Musgrave Harbour on Saturday. Carmanville RCMP say a bullet went through one of the windows shortly after midnight. The home was occupied at the time, but no one was injured. Police believe this was a targeted attack, and they're asking for anyone who was in the area or has information about who's responsible to contact police or Crime Stoppers.
To the West Coast now, where two men in their 50s have been charged following a weekend confrontation in the community of Halfway Point. Reports of gunshots were made just after 10 o'clock on Sunday night. Police say two men in a red pickup truck arrived at a home, confronted a man who was in that home, and then pulled a rifle from the truck and fired. No one was injured. The man then fled the scene. Both have since been arrested and face several charges between them, including pointing and discharging a firearm with intent, assault with a weapon, and dangerous operation of a motor vehicle.
Well, police responded to an afternoon robbery in the center of St. John's on Tuesday. Two men entered the Governor on Elizabeth Avenue around 3:20. Police say they presented a weapon and demanded cash before fleeing on foot towards Anderson Avenue. One man is described as tall, wearing a gray hoodie, black hat, and face mask. The other man was shorter, wore black pants, a gray and black sweater, and a red t-shirt. Once again, police would like anyone with information to contact the RNC or Crime Stoppers.
After more than a month on the picket line, unionized workers and Choices for Youth have reached a tentative deal. The agreement was reached last night and is expected to be ratified by the 9 staff members. The workers are employees of The Lily, a shelter in downtown St. John's that provides programs and services to at-risk youth. They've been on the picket line since March 15th. The tentative deal includes a raise, retroactive pay, and improvements in contract language. Details of the deal have not been publicly released, but both sides seem to be pleased with the agreement. The next step is to have the lawyers review the paperwork, and then the 9 members will vote.
I refer to them as the courageous 9 because I've never seen the courage, number one, to be the first to unionize in their workplace, to stand on the picket line, and the weather has been the most cooperative. The support has been phenomenal. These workers are the most courageous that I've met in a long time. An example to the labour movement. They took a stand, they did not waver, and their message was, we'll be here as long as it takes. Though there's 9 of us, we know there's thousands behind us, and that was the case. Thousands stood behind these 9 workers.
Now, Choices for Youth wasn't doing interviews today, but did release a statement saying it's pleased with the tentative deal and looks forward to welcoming back the 9 Lily staff members. They say our objective since day one has been on getting a fair deal that aligns with our principle of equity and fairness across the organization. We look forward to returning to normal operations to continue making a difference in the lives of young people we serve. No date has been set to ratify the deal. It's not known when the staff will resume their duties at the Lily.
MHAs on the West Coast are pointing to the importance of the Stephenville Airport as questions about its future continue to swirl. The issue of provincial government support came up in the House of Assembly earlier this month when the legislature extended a loan guarantee for another year. Troy Turner has that story.
Tony Wakeham says Stephenville Airport is going to need more than passenger traffic to maintain viability into the future. The Stephenville Port-au-Port MHA spoke in the House of Assembly earlier this month about the importance of government support for the airport. He was reacting to recent provincial funding provided to 3 other airports to bolster routes, but not Stephenville.
They have received a request, my understanding, from the airport authority. Let's look at that and see what they can do. Government needs to sit down with the airport authority and find a way to help them through this.
Wakeham says the province needs to get creative with its solutions for the airport. One way, he said, is to have government-funded travel mandated to fly to the airport.
And see if there's a business case to be made so that you actually have a flight in, a flight out on a regular basis. We're not talking about new money here. We're talking about money government's already spending and trying to get a better bang for that dollar by setting up a standing offer agreement with airlines. And then if there's excess capacity on those airlines, the airlines themselves can sell tickets to private consumers who also need to travel.
Area MHA Scott Reed is also in agreement this airport is vital to the Bay St. George area.
Stephenville Airport is an asset for not just the local area, it's an asset for the whole province. I think it offers, just from the perspective that it offers an alternative landing site for crafts flying into the province.
He says there may be opportunity for the government to look at helping the airport to get through a difficult time. There's little activity there right now, and no scheduled passenger flights for more than 2 years.
I'm a big believer in the private sector, and I think if there are opportunities there, I think private sector involvement will explore those opportunities that exist in a very vigorous way, I think, and I'm hopeful that that will bear some fruit in the future as well.
Aside from provincial government funding, people of the Bay St. George area are wondering if this airport will be sold to the Diamond Group of companies. A deal was supposed to close months ago, but there's still no word yet on if that will happen. Troy Turner, CBC News, Stephenville.
Well, it's a big night at the arena in Bay Roberts. Not only are they kicking off an under-15 provincial tournament, there's also a special ceremony happening tonight to honor a hometown hockey hero. I'm talking, of course, of Dawson Mercer. Here now's Meg Roberts is live at the arena tonight. Meg, it's very loud. What's the atmosphere like there at the Bay Arena?
Well, what a start for the U15 provincial tournament that's being played here behind me. During their opening ceremony, number 14 was retired. Was Dawson Mercer's number back when he played in this rink. It's also the first time the Bay Roberts Arena has retired a number. Mercer spoke to his fans through a video messenger just a bit earlier, thanking them for their support and encouraging future players. His parents, who live in the area, dropped the puck to start the tournament here. The town is full of tributes to Mercer, including a massive mural on the front of the arena. The celebration tonight was just another example of this excited community support. So tell me, what kind of fan are you? You must be a fan?
Yeah, I'm a fan of Dawson.
What do you like about him?
That he's from Bay Roberts, and when my mom was growing up, she was best friends with Dawson's mom. So they got a connection.
Yeah. And so I guess what is it going to be like tonight? You know, they're retiring his jersey. You guys have shown him so much support over the years. What does it mean to you to be out here tonight?
Feels pretty important.
What do you feel like being out here today?
I feel pretty special just seeing his jersey retire up in the stadium, because we'll always be here and we'll always get to see his jersey go up. And it'll be a good memory.
If you could give Dawson, one message from yourself, what would you say to him?
I'm gonna follow the dream that he did. And yeah.
He's pretty inspirational to you?
Yeah.
Mercer was not able to be here in person. That's because he has a game tonight, but we caught up with him a little bit earlier. He hasn't been home since last summer, but he says he's very excited to get back and see all this support.
It's been a while since I've been in the rink, and I'm sure obviously I haven't even seen the sign yet outside, just on pictures and people showing me. So when I go there, it'll be pretty special. I've always remembered, when I go there and I would look at the old banners that I had with my name up there signed on them, and it'll be cool to obviously see my actual jersey retirement there in the rink, and for when I can go back home, it's a pretty special feeling.
This was Mercer's first season in the NHL, and a pretty impressive one at that. He put up 41 points in 76 games. He's also the only New Jersey player to have played all the games so far. They've got 6 games left in their season. Reporting live from the Bay Roberts Arena, I'm Meg Roberts for Here and Now.
Well, staying with sports, a player from St. John's is the newest member of the Newfoundland Growlers basketball team. Cole Long says he wouldn't want to start his professional career anywhere else. He was selected by the Growlers in the U Sports draft Tuesday night. Long says he's excited to join the team in its very first season, which he says will make it a special experience for everyone involved.
I guess it's a little more special because, it's at home, it's a Newfoundland team, and it's, it's obviously a first year for this team to be developed. And it's also right where I guess I've just finished playing at the field house. So I get to kind of continue that career and stay at home. And I wouldn't really want to start my professional career anywhere else besides here in Newfoundland.
And the Growlers will play at Munn Fieldhouse for the first time on June 4th, facing off against the Edmonton Stingers.
Labrador West writer and artist Rianne Brown made the 2021 CBC Short Story Prize long list with her story Bedtime in Nunatsiavut.
Yes, the accomplishment turned her short story into a published book that's slated to be released on April 26th. Here Now's Daryl Din has more.
Rianne Brown didn't intend for her story to become an actual book. She says she always dreamed of writing something that would be published someday, but it has never been her main goal.
The goal when I first started to write this story was just kind of more for my kids, but after submitting it to CBC Books and then being langlisted and it gaining some interest, two publishers actually wanted to publish this story and turn it into a book, which was really exciting. I didn't expect it, but I'm really happy that it happened.
The next night, when it was bedtime in Nunatsiavut, Naya asked Ananak, "Why can't I have a long, fluffy tail?" Ananak pondered for a moment. "Well," she began as she stroked Naya's hair, "perhaps you'll grow a tail tonight in your dreams." "Perhaps," said Naya. Her Nanak pulled her close and touched her nose to Naya's, rubbing gently. "A clinic to help you dream," she said. Naya closed her eyes and began to imagine she was growing a tail as she drifted off to sleep.
This past winter, Brown started reading to school children, including kids from her hometown of Postville.
When I did the readings for my hometown, I think there's like maybe 15 students. That was pretty much the whole school that is in the grades lower than 5, I believe, and they really loved it. And I think they thought it was pretty cool that a book was written by somebody from their hometown and that it mentioned their hometown.
Brown says reading in person is a different experience than doing it virtually.
Yeah, it was great. It was definitely different than doing it online. I was able to flip the pages and hear the children's excitement, and then they got to come up to me afterwards. It was really great. I was nervous, but just having the support there made it all worth it for me.
Suddenly, Naya was nestled in a den underground, her cozy bed no longer underneath her. As she looked around, she saw a long red tail wrapped around her body. It was fluffy and warm. She opened her mouth to speak, but only a squeak came out. She was a fox. "Well," Naya thought happily, "I am a fox, and now I have a tail." Naya crawled from her den by Ranger Bite in Makhovik Nunatsiavut into the sunlight and began to chase her tail. She chased her tail and chased her tail until she chased it all the way back to her bed. In the morning, when she awoke, she was Naya again.
Brown is hoping the young people who hear her story becoming a published writer will inspire them to follow their dreams too. The book is released nationally next week. Daryl Din, CBC News, Labrador City.
Well, it's a pretty lovely evening out there as those clouds move off. Warm temperatures too. Winds have finally died down. I'll have the full forecast coming up.
This weather update is brought to you by the Healthcare Foundation Home Lottery. Early bird deadline is midnight, Friday, May 6th. Order tickets now at hcfhomelottery.ca.
Another nice day in our neck of the woods. Lots of sunshine today. I got out for an early morning walk and it was glorious.
It was. The sunshine definitely feels nice. We did see a few cloudy periods, but overall it was an absolutely beautiful day. Let's take a look at the satellite just to show you how beautiful it was. There's that cloud cover moving off. But the good news is that we can see some of the ice, which looks pretty beautiful along coastal areas of Labrador. I noticed that a little bit earlier today, and you can see it moving there with some of that rotation, which is quite nice out there across the province. So temperatures in that nice sunshine were pretty nice as well today. About 8 degrees in St. John's, 9 in Cape Race earlier today. And those temperatures as you head towards central and then the west coast a bit cooler. And same thing for the northern peninsula up across Labrador, mainly above zero. Happy Valley, Goose Bay around 5 degrees, but those coastal areas still a bit cooler. Makovic sat around -1 for a good chunk of the day today. Now taking a look, and I showed you this a little bit earlier, but a beautiful evening, 8 degrees, feeling more like 5 with that wind chill, but those winds have finally eased off. We're about northerlies, about 20 kilometers per hour, pressure at 10-28, definitely showing high pressure. And that will generally continue as we head through the evening hours tonight with some pretty nice temperatures. 6 degrees right now in Badger, still sitting around 3 degrees in Corner Brook as well, and about 1 in Cartwright right now. So taking a look at the satellite radar, there's that cloud cover that moved through a little bit earlier, but that is on the way out, and it's going to be a fairly nice night tonight under that ridge of high pressure. But the lack of cloud cover and the winds easing is going to allow those temperatures to drop tonight. So we'll actually sit below zero. -3 will be the overnight low. So if you're heading out the door tomorrow morning, you're definitely going to need a warmer jacket. -4 in Corner Brook tonight. And then same thing for the northern peninsula. Low-lying areas may see those temperatures a bit cooler, hovering around -6 overnight tonight for Grand Falls, Windsor. Same thing for coastal areas of Labrador, but things will stay unsettled tonight, or at least going to get unsettled tonight for Lab City as we start to see some of that snow move in with our next weather maker, and there it is there. So that will continue to move in as we head through tonight and the next couple of hours anyway. Head towards central Labrador, same thing for coastal areas as we get into the early morning hours. And then the first half of the day across the island actually looking beautiful, but the clouds will be on the increase into the early afternoon, and eventually we are going to see that potential for some showers, maybe even some flurry activity in the higher elevations through the afternoon. That will work its way along the southern areas of the island and then eventually towards the Burin Peninsula as we get through the overnight hours. The good news with this one is that we're not going to see the winds associated with this area of low pressure. And as far as snowfall amounts go, for Labrador, we're talking maybe 2 to 5 centimeters of snow, mainly in the west. The rest may actually see some of the shower activity through the afternoon. So as far as fog goes, with this system moving in for Friday, we're definitely going to see some of that fog move in through the overnight hours on Friday and continue through a good chunk of Saturday and even into Sunday. And that's because this area of low pressure is going to stick with us and stall. So the pattern as that area of low pressure moves south, that high pressure is what's going to stall things out. So we're talking even into next week, this area of low pressure affecting us. Doesn't mean the temperatures aren't going to be warm. We'll definitely get into that, but it will be generally unsettled right through next week. So we talk about the temperatures for tomorrow between 7 and 8 degrees, winds out of the south between 20 to 40 kilometers per hour. Same thing through central. Areas along the south, though, we'll see those temperatures a bit cooler through the afternoon. Those winds will be out of the south for you as well, between 30 to 50 kilometers per hour. Flurries or showers, the story for Labrador, most of Labrador anyway. Like I said, we're talking about 2 to 5 centimeters of snow. So that's a look tomorrow. We'll look ahead when I come back.
Well, collaborative care clinics are being sold as one of the solutions to a shortage of family doctors in the province. But the Medical Association says the clinics could actually end up making the problem even worse. The association is warning that doctors could be recruited away from family practices and abandon their patients. Joining me now is Melissa Kosh, the Regional Director of Primary Health Care with Eastern Health. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So most people are used to having one family doctor that they go and see. How are these clinics different?
So these clinics, in terms of who your what we call most responsible provider will be similar in that you will be attached to either a physician or a nurse practitioner in these collaborative care clinics or collaborative team clinics. But the difference will be you'll have access to a full team of professionals to meet your healthcare needs. And so while you traditionally would have come through the doors of a family practice and the physician would have to meet all of your needs, essentially. Here you'll be able to access things like physiotherapy, occupational therapy, a pharmacist, social worker, just to name a few. And those professionals then will be able to collaborate around your care with the hopes, I guess, of ensuring that providers can work to scope, but also your needs are being met in a timely manner in the one place.
So you say that you'll be assigned to a doctor. So does that mean you will always see the same doctor just as you would with your regular family doctor? Or is it more like a walk-in clinic where you'll see whichever doctor happens to be available?
No, so you will be the word is attached. And I say that because it's a word that we're certainly hoping to educate folks on, to one physician or one nurse practitioner. And the goal would be for you to get most of your healthcare needs met by that one provider. It may be that you don't need them often, but they certainly will be the coordinator of your care. They will be the most responsible provider for your care. You may see all the other providers, but the information will flow back through that most responsible provider. So it's not a walk-in clinic. It is absolutely a primary healthcare clinic focused on attachment and continuity of care. That's really important. If you've got that one person who is responsible for your care, of course, leaning on the full team, then we know, I guess there's lots of evidence out there to say that there's better quality of care when you're attached to a primary provider.
So that's the idea behind it. In practice, will it be that easy to just simply attach patients to doctors, or could there be instances where someone makes an appointment and they can't see the doctor that they're attached to?
Depending on the urgency of your need, we have built into these clinics an ability to have what we call urgent care. And in those cases, it may be that we ask the individual whether or not they would be comfortable seeing another provider. And depending on the urgency of the need, that may be the case. Every effort will be made to make that appointment with your primary provider. In terms of attaching patients to providers, that absolutely is our vision and our goal. And so part of our process, in fact, is to complete what's called an intake. So a registered nurse connects with the patient, goes through a full history, and then you will have an appointment with either a nurse practitioner or a physician, what we call a meet and greet. And that will be your primary provider then. You will be attached, and that means we'll have a conversation with you about what that means. It'll be documented in your chart, which is electronic. And then every time you come back, the staff then will be able to say, patient X is attached to this provider, and that's the goal then, to get them an appointment with that provider.
If someone loses their family doctor to one of these clinics, is the patient able to go in and then request to see that particular family doctor and then be attached to that family doctor?
So it depends on where the patient lives and where that particular family doctor would have been assigned from a CTC perspective. So if a patient lives in the West End and their provider or their family doctor has gone to work in the West End clinic, then that is something that we certainly could look at. But I will say that we have created these clinics in such a way that our intent is for folks to be attached within their geography. And so there hasn't been, I guess, any requests of that nature yet, but we certainly are open, I guess, to have those conversations as they arise.
You know, we're hearing from lots of doctors who are saying the collaborative care clinic model is the answer to the doctor shortage in the province, but they just have a problem with how the clinics are being set up, and mainly because they say they can't take their patients with them. So if adding doctors to this clinic ends up orphaning more patients, does it really solve the problem?
What we've seen, I guess, in the recruitment process is we have been successful in recruiting physicians from all sorts of different areas. So from the United States, from other parts of the country, and within our province, certainly, and even within the Eastern region. If a physician has left their practice, then those patients have been instructed to register with NL Connect. We right now, based on the demand that we're seeing, have the ability over time, once we're fully staffed, to attach over 20,000 patients to these 3 clinics and can meet the need as it stands right now.
Well, Melissa Kosh, thank you so much for helping us understand this new model a bit better. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much, Carolyn. Have a great night.
It's a big night here at the Bay Roberts Arena. NHLer Dawson Mercer, his number is being retired. Coming up, we'll speak with the people who have supported him since birth.
Well, as we saw earlier, it's a very exciting night in Bay Roberts. The town and the Bay Arena have teamed up for a special ceremony tonight ahead of a provincial hockey tournament. NHLer Dawson Mercer's hometown jersey is being retired tonight. Our Meg Roberts is standing by live from the Bay Arena. So Meg, I hear that you are with some true Dawson Mercer fans.
Well, yes, I am. And you know, Mercer told us earlier that this arena has a special place in his heart, and I know it has a special place in his parents' hearts as well. They join me now, Charlotte and Craig. All the early mornings at this arena, you know, spent here with him as a kid and still spent here. What's it like knowing no one at this arena can wear his number again?
Well, something we never expected. We're just so very proud of Dawson's accomplishments, and we really appreciate what the town is after doing, and retire his number is something that we never expected, like I said, and to do it this early, so it's really something special.
When you see that banner up there with your son's number 14, what do you think, Dad?
Pretty cool experience. It is. The fact that the town went all out, it wasn't just the raising of the jersey, they surely went all out to make this event special.
So he's pulled off a number of points in the NHL. He's played in every game so far. What's it been like watching him this season?
Oh, it's just every game. Like we stay up and watch whatever game, whatever time it is. It's just so very exciting, but it's almost like you're watching it, but you don't really think it's the NHL. You're just saying, okay, well, it's his team he plays for this year, and you're just enjoying the game and hoping that he'll succeed and have a great game, and that your team will pull out a win.
So cool, you know, since the beginning. At the beginning, we didn't know where it was going to end up. You know, it was like his first NHL game, and where it went from there was just we're basically enjoying our experience through him.
And your future plans for him, where do you hope his career goes?
I just like for him to. It was always his dream. I just like for it to be whatever it ends, wherever it ends.
So he hasn't been back home since last summer. He has plans to come back this summer.
Yes.
You must be excited for that. Spend some time with him.
Oh, we can't wait. I mean, we've been down to see him twice in New Jersey now, and we loved our experience there and our trip with him, but it's nothing like being home. That he's loves the outdoors, and I know he's looking forward now to coming home and enjoying Newfoundland.
Absolutely. Well, Mercer couldn't be here tonight, of course, because he has a game, but Peter Cowan caught up with him a little bit earlier in New Jersey.
So you're finishing up your first NHL season. How are you feeling about your performance?
Yeah, good. Obviously, it's been a long year. It's been fun, and coming up now, we got 6 more games left, and that'll add the total up to 82. So it's a lot of hockey, but that's what I grew up doing. That's what I love, and it's pretty cool when you get to travel around the 32 different cities and see the world. And, you know, it's been fun for me. I've enjoyed it all the time. A great team, and we're a young group, so it's been looking good for us.
So how has the experience been compared to what you were expecting?
Yeah, well, coming into camp, you know, you never really knew what to expect. And I gave it my all, I gave it my best, and ended up making the team. And I just wanted to make sure that I kept on staying here, had my role, and kept on playing consistent. So I was expecting, obviously, for the year to be long, and but also enjoyable, because now after coming to New Jersey, you know, there's no more school, focus on hockey, and that's my lifestyle now, and you're kind of just set on that, and so it's nice to be able to put all of your time towards it.
What has been the most enjoyable part?
Like I said, I mentioned, well, obviously besides the hockey, like you're playing the best of the best in the world, and traveling around, but I think that part's pretty cool. I didn't get to travel everywhere before, and now, you know, away from Newfoundland and seeing the rest of down in the warm states of the U.S. over in L.A. and then down in Florida, it's pretty cool just to travel and, you know, end up showing up to the rink and playing the game that night and flying around.
So the arena in Bay Roberts is retiring your number. What does that mean for you?
Yeah, it's pretty special. Obviously, number 14 was my childhood number, and that's where I grew up. That's where I learned to play, skate. My full life, that's been my hometown, and they supported me all the way through my career, ever since I was little, moving away to junior, and now in New Jersey. So it's pretty special to be the first one there to have my number retired, and I can't wait to see it, obviously, when I go home.
When is the last time you made it home?
Last summer. So I didn't get to come home Christmas time because I wasn't sure about with all the COVID. I wanted to make sure that if I went back, that if there was a chance that I could get it, I wouldn't be able to come back to the U.S. and I would miss some games. So I just stuck it out here for Christmas down in the States.
So what's that been like, being away from all of your friends and family here in Newfoundland for such a long period of time?
Yeah, I've gotten used to it over the years. I moved away at a pretty young age. This is my 5th year away. So I'm used to just quick visits, pretty much just in the summertime. But fortunately, they were able to come down and watch me. So I've had a couple trips when I've seen my family came down twice, and then friends have also made the trips down. And it's kind of cool just to have some familiar faces watch me again in the stands.
So what are you looking forward to when you are able to come back home and get to see your number up in the arena?
Yeah, it'll be special. Obviously, it's been a while since I've been in the rink, and I'm sure, obviously, I haven't even seen the sign yet outside, just on pictures and people showing me. So when I go there, it'll be pretty special. I've always remembered, when I go there and I would look at the old banners that I had with my name up there signed on them, and it'll be cool to obviously see my actual jersey retirement there in the rink, and for when I can go back home, it's a pretty special feeling.
For the people who are showing up to be there in person for this moment, what message do you want to send to them?
Yeah, they're obviously going for their provincial tournament, and it's nice Bay Roberts is hosting it. And I think I remember all those tournaments going around, and you're young, you're playing, and you want to win the trophy. And I think at that age, you want to do your best and try to win. And I think just obviously my dream was to play in the NHL, and I never let that get away from me. And fortunately, mine came true. And I think at that age, kids are not sure. And I think if you just obviously give yourself the best chance and go for it, and you won't regret it if it happens or not. So that's what I'd like to say, obviously, for all those young kids playing in the tournament.
Well, thank you very much for joining us and sharing some of your thoughts, and good luck with your last games.
Perfect. Thank you.
Well, the Queen is celebrating her 96th birthday at her estate in eastern England, where she's been joined by family members and friends. At Windsor Castle, meanwhile, the Queen's Guard paid a special tribute. Buckingham Palace has released a special photo to mark the occasion. It shows the Queen with 2 ponies, which reflects her longtime interest in horses. Mattel, an American toy manufacturer, just released a new Barbie honoring the Queen, who's marking her Platinum Jubilee, 70 years on the throne. She was only 25 years old when she became Queen in 1952. She's the longest serving monarch in British history.
A Métis delegation from Manitoba met with the Pope today at the Vatican. Métis leaders say tears were shed during the meeting. The president of the Manitoba Métis Federation says they discussed the harm caused by residential schools and efforts to heal.
It was a very personal moment for us, and we came what we said. We come with a message of hope, revitalization, and how do we move forward now? We can't change history, but we definitely can change the future.
Chartrand has invited the Pope to visit Winnipeg when he's in Canada this summer. He'd like the Pope to bless the gravesite of Louis Riel, the Métis leader who helped found the province of Manitoba.
We were talking earlier about enjoying all of the nice weather. How much longer is it going to last? Are we going to see any more on the weekend?
Unfortunately not. We're going to see those clouds on the increase tomorrow, some unsettled weather moving in thanks to an area of low pressure, and unfortunately that area of low pressure is going to stick with us for a good chunk of the weekend, and actually it's going to be fairly chilly as well. Let's take a look at what's going on. Because of those chilly temperatures, there's that area of low pressure there, and you're starting to see some of that pink and blue show up there. That is the potential for some snow, and that will be the story through a good chunk of the weekend, certainly on Saturday, up across Labrador as well, looking at the potential for some wet snow, and this will continue through the afternoon. The eastern half of the island looking like this should fall as rain at least through Saturday, but as we get into the overnight on Saturday, that's when the potential for some of that flurry activity will move in, and that's because temperatures will be fairly cool. So we're looking in the overnight hours anyway, anywhere from 2 to 7 degrees as the afternoon high on Saturday across most of the island. Across Labrador, your temperatures will be mainly above 0 except in Lab City, where they're going to dip a little bit through the day. About -3 will be the afternoon high, and again, a few potential for a few showers in the mix through central areas of Labrador. Now, as we head into Saturday evening and into Sunday, I talked about how that area of low pressure will generally stick around. It's going to head south of us, and that means that we're going to be in onshore flow through a good chunk of Sunday as well. So this is when we're looking at the potential for some wet snow through the afternoon through central, depending on the track, or at least have a few things to decipher at this point, but it's looking like things will certainly be unsettled. Amounts not likely significant, but that risk is certainly still there to see that wet snow through the day on Sunday. Again, likely the Avalon may stay as rain. You may see a few flurries in the mix, but overall it should stay as rain, but that onshore flow will generally continue. So that does mean some of the cooler temperatures are going to stick around right with it as well. So we're looking at between 3 to 6 degrees, the warmest, again, away from that onshore flow along southern areas of the island, but we're not talking significant numbers here, between 5 to 6 degrees above 0. Across Labrador, things will generally start to improve. Likely going to stay cloudy, though, for Lab City, and then Happy Valley Goose Bay still looking at that chance of showers or flurries at least through the first half of the day. So, unfortunately, the unsettled weather will continue for St. John's and eastern Newfoundland as we get into the beginning of next week. Likely more in the way of cloudy periods. Temperatures should be above 0, though, between 6 and 7 degrees, but we'll start talking about some double-digit temperatures. By that, I mean 10 to 15 degrees for central Newfoundland, some clearing skies as we get into Tuesday. Looking beautiful for the west coast. Hopefully that sticks around with your temperatures hovering around 15 degrees through the day as well. And then for eastern Labrador, nice as we get into next week, 6 to 8 degrees. Unfortunately, a little bit more unsettled for the west. Take a look at this shot. This is an iceberg visible from Ocean Park. Leading Tickles Linda shared this great shot with us. If you have any, send them to anaphotos@cbc.ca.
Oh, that's fantastic.
I love seeing iceberg shots, and I always love trying to figure out, like, it's like clouds. Like, what animal can you see? Like, I kind of see a head over to the right.
It's almost like someone's lying down.
Oh yeah, lying down with like face up in the air.
Yeah, like the head is on the right, the feet are on
Or
the
a dog.
left.
What's
there we
that
go.
dog with the ears? A Westie? It looks like a Westie to me.
Well, there you go.
Wow.
Well,
Fun
that's
game.
that's it for us tonight. Thanks so much, everyone, for watching.
Good night.
Good night.